Have you ever thought about the legacy that you want to leave? Hey, it's Brian from Hope Books, and I'm actually in the Hope Book store with one of our Hope Books authors, Gwen Christeson, and she is the author of Legacy Love Letters. Gwen, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to be with you today. Can you tell us a little bit about this brand new book that you've written that we're publishing?
So my book is coming out, and we have this. Today was the first day I got to see a copy of
So
it.
awesome. It's so beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
Yes.
And I've been working on it with Hope Books for almost 2 years. And so to see it in real life was a real great experience today. But I really wanted to teach people how to write a legacy love letter. And so I focus on hope and love and faith and gratitude and just making sure people can write their final words and leave a legacy.
Your final words, and that kind of alludes to the fact that this is actually what you do for a living. Can you tell us a little bit about like what your day job looks like?
So I'm a probate attorney from California. And it means that every day I talk to people about what if you died today, making sure that they've made financial decisions, that they've put their legacies in writing. And so really that financial stewardship of just making sure that people are a good steward of their financial resources, that they're providing for their families, and really just putting in writing those decisions. And so as a licensed attorney, I always approach it from the legal side of these are the decisions you have to make and the steps that you have to take. And so the legacy love letters came from that space of wanting to help people and finding out that people needed more than just leaving a legacy of the material possessions, that they really had a desire to say goodbye and I love you one more time. And so the book came from that place of how can I help people leave a legacy and just have that peace of heart.
That's so amazing. So when we think of somebody that's going through the process of maybe hospice or passing away or even passing away suddenly, they're leaving behind their will and maybe a trust, but often they don't leave a legacy love letter. Can you tell us what is a legacy love letter?
So a legacy love letter is a final goodbye. It's making sure that it's really just that. Dear loved one, I wanted you to remember how much I love you. And so it's when we say final words, it's how are they going to remember you? But what I found with clients in my office is during their grief, they desired those final words. What I have found with the love letter writing process is just that these letters have supernatural powers. When people read letters from you, they hear your voice, they can see your face. And so that's where that staying power comes from, that your love will remain here on earth even when you're in heaven. And so that's what I found when I was working with people. I could help them with the legal part, but I couldn't help them with the grief part. And so when people have this tangible reminder how much you love them, and they can read those words during their times of doubt, that's what anchors them in their faith and reminds them that this goodbye is only temporary.
What's this ideal situation? There's somebody who passes away. I mean, maybe even somebody listening or watching right now. So imagine it's now the day after your last day. So your family's starting to go through your belongings and go through the will and the reading of the will and the whole thing. And then included in that is a legacy love letter. That sounds pretty amazing.
It has a huge impact. My story that I share in the book, which is why this book started, I had a client write a love letter to his wife. And I read their obituary, and their obituary acknowledged the letter. And his daughter let me share the obituary and the letter in the book. It's part of the book. And when I talked to the daughter, she said when they found the letter, it was tucked inside with the will and trust document. It brought them peace right away. They were able to read the letter and see his final words, and it just had a huge impact on them. And so when I did the research for the book, I found out that he wrote the letter because of me. He actually had come to one of my seminars, workshops. I had the top 10 things people need to know, and writing a letter to your loved one was number 7. It's now number 1 on the list, but it was number 7 on the list, and it was for people who are planners, estate planning. You do have to be ready. You have to be in the season for legacy planning.
Yes.
And that's why, as a professional, I could help people make decisions. I could put them in writing for them. But with the love letters, it's really extra things that they need to be doing. And so it was just reminding them that these letters can have an impact. And so just seeing what a difference his letter made just helped me start talking to people about these legacy love letters, and just reminding them that this is what they need to be doing.
That's so powerful. So if somebody doesn't write a legacy love letter, like what are the stakes? What's the regret that's there? Like what are they missing out on? What are your children or your grandchildren missing out on if you don't write a legacy love letter and include that with your documents?
I think the biggest fear people have is not being remembered, that their story doesn't matter, that their legacy didn't have a purpose. And what I see at stake too, and I saw my dad pass suddenly, and I talk about this in the book. And so I actually wrote letters to him. Even though he didn't leave me a letter, I was able to capture my memories of him. I went through a book where it had prompts, and I just was able to write about what I was going to remember about my dad. And then now I can read those when I'm missing him or wanting to remember him. And I think if he had had my book, I think he knew about it. I had talked to him about it before he passed, but he really didn't know what I was working on. He just knew that I was talking about legacy love letters. And so that's with the book. I get to share a lot of stories and a lot of examples. People have shared their letters with me. And so I was able to share those in the book. And once people see examples, it really does make a difference. And so now in my office, I've had clients tell me, if only mom or dad had left a letter. They just know, they just miss that missed opportunity. If only I had one more letter.
That's so good. Yeah, I mean, I think about my two grandpas. My two grandfathers are not with us anymore, and there's only a few leave behinds that I have. I mean, just they're very few. I mean, just a picture or two and just a couple pieces of memorabilia, but there's no words that they left behind. And you know, at Hope Books, we believe that your story can change the world, right? That you have hope-filled words that need to be shared. And so I'm so grateful for you, Gwen, and you writing this amazing book called Legacy Love Letters and helping you write that legacy love letter for your children. Right, the Bible says a righteous person leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and I just think about how that legacy love letter doesn't just stop with the next generation, but could be passed on. And that's kind of the work that you do as an attorney, right? You're meeting with people, talking about end of life and talking about estate planning. So, what's the big difference between like when somebody writes a legacy love letter? What does it change for them? How does it really help the person writing the letter?
I love this because when I knew about love letters, and even seeing Clyde's love letter to his wife, it was only about 3 sentences long. It was typed. He didn't like his handwriting, so he did type it. And I actually, when I saw his, I realized I had no excuse not to write one. And so I think a part of it is that of just seeing those examples. And so I had to write my letters. I couldn't procrastinate either. When I started writing the book, I just had this just reminder of I can't teach people about legacy love letters and how important they are if I haven't written my own.
Yes.
Now I have to revise them because even when I wrote mine, my son was in college, and now he's married and has a baby and is in law school. And so I do need to rewrite that letter, but at least I had something. And so for me, I at least had that. I can't teach people without writing mine, so I had a deadline. But I think it just helps people when they think about, okay, I want to make sure when I'm gone that my loved one remembers that I love them, that knows I've prayed for them, that knows that I want to leave these final words of hope and encouragement. And when you ask me what's at stake, Brian, I think about people going through grief. And you see that with a lot of our heart stories here at Hope Books. When people are walking through grief, they really do need that anchor in faith. And so I have found with these letters that they really help people anchor during their grief. And it gives us an opportunity to remind them. It helps people turn toward God when they have that time of grief and sadness. And so I think that's the biggest impact I've seen.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that so much. I'm so excited about your book. We've talked about how we're all about words of hope, and that's really what you've written. You've written a book that is truly a hope book, leaving hope for the next generation. What I also love about your book is it's a framework. It walks people through a process of exactly how to write that legacy love letter. Can you talk about maybe one of the prompts or one of kind of the sections of the book and how it specifically helps somebody writing that letter?
Yes. When I went through the process, I really broke it down into 3 parts. And so the book is called Legacy Love Letters. And the first question people ask all the time is why? Why does legacy matter? And then the next question people ask is what legacy matters? And so I believe the Bible, and I believe God is love, and I believe that we're supposed to love God and love people. And so for me, that legacy is love, that your love remains, that God had a plan for you, that God had a purpose for you. And so when you say nothing else matters except the fact that you had this relationship with this loved one and you want them to remember that you love them, your love remains here. And then we see that we'll be reunited with our loved ones. And so then that goodbye, I love you, becomes temporary.
I see you later. I'll see you later.
I'll see you in heaven.
I'll see you in heaven.
And so and I talk about this in the book. This is one of the reasons why I chose Hope Books, was that I knew that was countercultural. As a state attorney in California, I talk to people about the legal. I don't talk to them about their faith. And when I started this project and people started sharing their letters with me, I got to read their letters of, I'll see you in heaven. We'll be waiting for you in heaven. And that just reminded me of God's heart for legacy and showed me what an impact this book could have of just changing people's heart for legacy.
I love that. Yeah, we often talk about that in Hope Books, about how a book has the power to change someone's life. And it really starts with your life. The writing process, the editing process, the research process really changes you as a person. How has writing this book changed you and impacted you?
I think for me, it's definitely helped me with my relationships. I saw that in the season of my life. My kids had moved out and gone to college. And so just being able to write those love letters, they've written letters back to me. And that just helped our relationships and our communication, just being able to share those letters with them. But I think also what happens when people start remembering, when they look to see what life lessons are they passing down, how am I going to be remembered? It just has a huge impact on how God created you as a work of art. And so when you can see your legacy, that you're not starting from scratch, that God's designed you this way. Even in my life, I have always been an estate planning attorney. So I'm about to celebrate 23 years in business doing
awesome.
just this, talking about legacy. And so that is when I look at the how part, I was telling people, oh, just say goodbye, I love you. And when I wrote the book, I was seeing just all the ingredients that are part of the letter, realizing depending on how that loved one receives love. I love Gary Chapman. I talk about him in my book, the 5 love languages. And so each of us receive love differently. And so with these letters, I have found that there's people like me. I'm definitely words of affirmation. And so I want that handwritten letter.
Yes.
But then there's people, for example, someone whose quality of time, they're going to want to remember, you're going to remember a time that you shared with them. And so it's just looking at how that person really receives love. And so the ingredients came from what are they dealing with at that time? Do they need hope more? Do they need to know that this is just a temporary farewell? Do they need that encouragement? Do they need that forgiveness? In my office as an estate planning attorney, I help people all the time that come to me with broken relationships and estrangement, and they're really wrestling with, what do I do in these documents for this person who our relationship isn't that great, or maybe have lost contact with that person, or just not happy with that season of life that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And so those words of hope and encouragement is really an expression of love.
Mm.
And so even gratitude. A legacy heart is a heart of remembrance and gratitude. And so when people start writing these letters, and the best is to do that dirty draft, to just
get it down.
Get it all down.
Yes.
And then clean it later. I love just picking the right card for each of my kids. I picked a card that made me think of them. But I had, in fact, my friend Anne, who's the one who referred me to Hope Books, her mom's letter was on binder paper. It wasn't anything fancy, and it doesn't have to be fancy. But it's really just getting those words down. And so when people start writing those, when they're really thinking about the hopes and prayers I have for this person, then it just comes together. But I found that people just needed to know that they can write it differently, giving them permission.
Yeah.
That it really could just be goodbye, I love you. Even in my office, I've seen letters that just said, "Kids, don't sell the ranch." I mean, sometimes it's family, family, or I want you to keep this family property.
Right.
Where I am in California, we have family ranches, we have family vineyards. So I've seen a lot of those instruction letters.
Wow.
Even in my office, my son and my daughter-in-law both work for me.
Amazing.
And so there's that succession letter of, this is how I did well in business. This is good advice for you. And so there's just so much that comes out of that when you have a time to reflect on your life and on your life lessons, to be able to write that down. I think it really just reinforces who you are and how God created you.
I love that. And we're in a generation right now where there's so much content and scrolling and a short attention span. Can you talk a little bit about the power of like actually writing it down, but like physically writing it and being able to see something that's on paper, like that analog, that just feels like it lasts so much longer than a viral video or something you just scroll on by.
Well, and that's the keepsake part of it. When people tuck that letter in with the will and trust document, they know that this is an important document. And letters people hold on to them for a long time. I've met people through this project that they keep every birthday card and letter, and then other people who will just keep one. But multiple people who have told me they read that letter when they need it the most. And so that's where, whether it's your words of wisdom or it's your life lessons or just who you are, that you want your loved one to remember how much you love them. It just has such an impact on them. And so writing it down, really, that's what leaves that legacy, because that voice text or that text message disappears. The post on Facebook disappears. Even the voicemail. I've had people tell me that they've kept voicemails for a long time, but those at some point give way. Whereas the letters are treasured and cherished. My friend Anne keeps hers in a jewelry box.
I love it.
Some people keep them in a fireproof safe or a safe deposit box. But people do read them, and so they like having that tangible letter to read.
Amazing. So the book is called Legacy Love Letters. Gwen, what is your hope for this book and how it will impact people?
My hope really is that people know how important these letters are. And I've discovered that in my office. I've been working on the book for a couple years now and speaking the book. And so just having real conversations with people that this is something you need to do. I do want them to do their estate planning, but at the very minimum, at least write that goodbye letter. And so that's my hope, that people just know that they can do this and just helping them along that process to make it easier. This is how you can get started. These are some ingredients. These are some examples, and really helping them get to that space where they can say, okay, I am in the season of legacy planning. My story does matter. My loved ones are important to me, and I don't want them to forget that.
Amazing. I'm so proud of you and the work that you've done. Y'all, this is such a beautiful book. It'll inspire you and your family. I highly recommend that you pick it up for a Christmas gift, a birthday gift. It's a great Mother's Day gift as well, because we all have somebody in our life that we want to share our wisdom, share the love that we have, and let them know that we love them. And so Gwen walks you through a process of writing that legacy love letter. Of course, you can buy it on Amazon. We'll put some links as well for you can check out Gwen and her website and some bonuses. But y'all, you got to get a copy of Legacy Love Letters. And Gwen, so proud of you, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.